Okay, we'll look at this essay on local food. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated, okay, you have to say whether, not that, so have debated whether food production for local consumption is but beneficial for the local environment as well as for the economy of a nation. Be careful with this phrase, because when you're saying have debated whether, they're talking in general terms. So they're debating whether it's a positive or a negative. And so it's a little bit confusing here because you've mentioned 2 points for the local environment as well as the economy. So those are 2 separate debates. Okay. And also you then say, I partially agree with the aforementioned statement. So it's absolutely not clear what you agree with because you've mentioned 2 points there. And also that would not go with this expression. The expression experts for both the developing and developed world is a way of leading into the topic. It's not actually a way to give an opinion. Okay. So do be careful of that. So you're saying, I partially agree with the aforementioned statement, so I have no idea what you agree with. And this essay will discuss both sides, delete both sides using examples from the University of California and Mexico. So I think this introduction needs to be a lot clearer. It's good to have a lead-in, but just understand better what that phrase actually means. So, for example, experts throughout both the developing and the developed world have debated the impact of importing or have debated the impact of global food trade, for example, full stop, because you can only use it for one topic like that. Okay, there is ample evidence that excessive food export is detrimental to the environment. Okay, the central reason behind this is twofold. Now, normally I would have see a full stop there because this looks like a very long sentence. So, firstly, to meet the demands of export, food production has to be increased, and as a result, natural resources such as water will be consumed more. Okay, so I would definitely make that into a new sentence. So, the central reason behind this is twofold. Full stop. Firstly, so new sentence, to meet the demands of export, food production has to be increased, and as a result, natural resources such as water are consumed more. Okay, that's fine, good. Secondly, to grow food, more land will be required. Okay, not due to, so you're mixing up the meaning of due to here. So secondly, to grow food, more land will be required, and therefore trees need to be cut. Okay, for example, recent empirical research from the University of California demonstrated that the major cause, because you're talking about major, so the major cause of global warming is deforestation. Okay, that's good. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that excessive food production is harmful to nature. Okay, that's good. You've concluded your paragraph. Okay. Yes, it's a good paragraph. You've given me a topic sentence and you've supported your argument. Okay. Although food production is harmful to the environment, but, okay, be careful here. You've got although. Remember, although actually means but or however, and then you've got but. So that's an unnecessary repetition. So just delete the but. So although large food production is harmful to the environment, comma, it can boost the economy of the producing nation. Okay. This is largely because they can sell their food for good prices to the countries in need. Okay. For instance, harsh environmental conditions of Canada do not favour producing, or you could say do not favour the production of, which actually sounds better. So do not favour the production of various food items, and therefore, or consequently, not due to. So you're not using this word due to in the correct way. So think about that. and therefore they export food from Mexico. So delete due to which, and just put therefore. Food export is a major contributor in raising, delete that, in raising Mexico's economy. Okay, that's good. Thus, comma, it is possible to state beyond a doubt, the expression uses a, to state beyond a doubt that food export is beneficial for the growth of an economy. Yes, that's true. Okay. Just thinking of your use due there, you've made that the same mistake in both paragraphs. So just think about the meaning of due. So, for example, the shortage of water in southern Spain is due to low rainfall. So due to means it's talking about the cause of something, okay, not the result. Alright, from the arguments and examples given, comma, I firmly believe that excessive food production negatively affects the local environment, comma, but has positive impacts on the economy of a nation. It is predicted that government, I don't know which government you mean, so if you're talking in general, it's plural, it's predicted that governments will come up with better solutions in the near future to balance this problem. I'm not sure that I agree with that last statement. I'm not sure that it's predicted that governments are going to come up with better solutions. Also, in your conclusion, you've very much stuck. You've sat on the fence. You've just basically said that that the food, that it causes environmental problems, but it's good for the economy. I think that's also what you wanted to say in your introduction, so you're being consistent, which is good. Make sure you're in overall this essay, the main issue is the introduction, so that needed to be clearer. Because if you actually look at your introduction, you said I partially agree, and in the bottom you're saying I firmly believe. So just try and be consistent in your arguments, because when people mark these essays, they tend to look at the thesis statement and the viewpoint in the introduction and also in the conclusion to check that they are consistent. But you have answered the question, you have looked at both sides, and you basically concluded that you don't really agree or disagree because you're looking at both sides, and that's okay. Overall, well done. Okay, so now let's look at the bar graph. When you're doing this kind of task, you need to introduce the topic, which you have done, and then you need to give a brief summary of all the main points, or highlight the key or interesting factors, and then I think it's best to conclude with your overview. And remember, the interesting part of this for people reading this is the highlights, or the meaning or significance of the figures. What do they actually mean? Because this shows that you can interpret and understand a graph. Just summarizing every little piece of data doesn't actually necessarily show understanding. So you get more points for showing that understanding, or for showing how things relate. What is the significance of this? Okay, so do keep that in mind when you're doing this. Don't feel you have to summarize every little piece of data, because that does actually make very boring reading. And the people who get higher marks are the ones who actually show a good understanding of the significance of the data, what it can mean, like making comparisons, drawing conclusions and things like that. Okay, so do keep that in mind when you're doing this kind of task. Okay, so the bar graph displays the sales in thousands from two chip manufacturing companies, Intel and ADAM, of France throughout the year 2017. Yes, that's a good lead-in, that's fine. Right, you've put your overview here. I think it actually is better to put the overview at the end, because that just finishes your piece of writing more cleanly. Okay, but here, let's have a look. Overall, maximum, that must be a small letter, overall maximum sales for Intel can depicted, okay, that's a mistake there, can depicted in the month of June. I don't know what you mean by can depicted in the month of June, whereas for AMD it is in February. Okay, so So overall, maximum sales for Intel occur. That makes the sentence much clearer. So sales for Intel occur in June. You don't need to say in the month of. We know that June is a month, and that's wasting your word count. Okay. So maximum sales for Intel occur in June, whereas for AMD it is in February. Okay. Opposing this, no sales for AMD is in the month of June. Again, don't say month of. Whereas it is a minimum for Intel in the month of April and July. Okay, I wouldn't use this expression opposing this. You should say in contrast. You need a full verb structure. So there are no sales for AMD in June, comma, whereas for Intel, minimum sales are in April and July. Again, delete in the month of. You can see you've written in the month of 3 times in just 2 sentences, so that was unnecessary repetition. Okay. For Intel, it starts at around 50,000 in January and increases steadily until March. In April, the sales reduce, delete S, to about 25,000, comma, but over the next 2 months, rise, delete it, rise. So the sales reduce, remember that's what you're matching it. So the sales reduce to about 25,000, but over the next 2 months, rise and reach a peak of approximately 25,000 in June. Okay, that's fine, but looking at it, it's a very long sentence, and that's a lot of data for somebody to read and take in and absorb. So it's just too long. So I would have made that into 2 sentences. So, for example, you could have increases steady until March, full stop, in April. So that's a new sentence. Okay. A sudden decline can be seen in July, delete in month of again. With sales around 25,000, comma, after which it shows little fluctuation and ends in December at around 90,000. That's a good sentence. Yeah. Regarding AMD, it started at, so it's not the company, it means the figures. So you'd have to say regarding AMD, sales started at a slow pace in January, with sales of around 25,000, comma, but a significant increase can be not visualized, can be seen. Visualize means like you imagine, so can be seen in February, comma, approximating to 120,000. I would say at approximate, not approximating to, so at approximate 120,000. Thereafter it shows constant, so it shows a constant decline till June. And so you need to connect these ideas. So, and in July, there is, you still need a verb. So in July, there is a dramatic increase to approximately 120,000. Delete occurred. So put your verb sooner, okay, not right at the end of the sentence. After this, it starts declining constantly until, not till, because till is quite informal, until it stops in December at around 20,000. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, overall, you've fulfilled the task. You have summarised the whole text, but do keep in mind what I said about highlighting key points. That's where the higher marks come in, when people show a real understanding of what the figures mean and interpret them. And in terms of structure, I put your overview at the end of this piece of writing. Okay, but you have fulfilled the task, so well done.